Welcome. I'm Alice Finnamore. I'm the Minister of Prince William Pastoral Charge in New Brunswick in Canada. Thank you for joining us. You can also join us in person in Prince William at 9:15 on Sunday morning each week and at the Kirk in Nakowick at 11 a.m. Just keep in mind that we are insisting on proof of vaccination for the safety of those in our congregation who might be immune compromised or older. Thank you for that. Gather us in, ground us in you. Gather us in, ground us in you. Gather us in, ground us in you. We gather on sacred ground, on the rich earth that nourishes us, under the great awning of the sky that replenishes us, to once again listen to the voice that warms our hearts to say, "Come, follow me." We have two scriptures today. The first is from Isaiah chapter 58, verses 9 to 11. And today I'm reading from the New Revised Standard Version. If you remove the yoke from among you, the pointing of the finger, the speaking of evil, if you offer your food to the hungry and satisfy the needs of the afflicted, then your light shall rise in the darkness and your gloom be like the noonday. The Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your needs in parched places and make your bones strong. And you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water, whose waters never fail. And the second scripture is taken from Matthew chapter 13, the first 9 verses, again from the New Revised Standard Version. That same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat beside the sea. Such great crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat there, while the whole crowd stood on the beach. And he told them many things in parables, saying, "Listen, a sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some seeds fell on the path, and the birds came and ate them up. Other seeds fell on rocky ground, where they did not have much soil. And they sprang up quickly, since they had no depth of soil. But when the sun rose, they were scorched. And since they had no root, they withered away. Other seeds fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them. Other seeds fell on good soil, and brought forth grain, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Let anyone with ears listen." May our spirits be blessed by these words from our ancient scriptures. You know what it's like? Do you know what it's like to put every ounce of ability and energy into something and then have it flop miserably? Do you know what it's like to do your best and find that your best just isn't good enough? Do you know what it's like for wanting something good to grow in your life and then wait and wait and wait? That day when Jesus was sitting in a boat in the middle of the sea, he was speaking to a worn-out crowd that felt just like that. His followers had been working hard, really hard, to share the good news, but the message just wasn't sinking in. Here they were, going from town to town, sharing Jesus' life-saving message that justice is attainable, that there are key values like kindness and generosity that, if lived out collectively, could change the world. Yet, despite this important message, everywhere they went, they brushed up against people who were too preoccupied, too bored, too self-centered, or too stressed to listen. Each time a door slammed in their face, their discouragement ramped up. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Even though Jesus was standing or sitting in the middle of the sea in that boat, it's like he could see into their very hearts. And in that calm, reassuring voice of his, he told them stories to help them understand themselves and make sense of their lives. One of the stories was the parable of the sower. Some seeds will fall on the path and the birds will eat them. Some will fall on rock and the sun will scorch them. Some will fall on thorns and be choked out. And some will fall on good soil and bear an unbelievable crop. The parable of the sower was a pep talk of sorts. It wasn't the kind that you would hear in a locker room, though. It wasn't trying to say how great Jesus' followers were or how they could succeed at every turn. It was realistic. Some of the work you do is going to feel like a waste of time. Some of it will even be sabotaged. But keep going, because there will be success. Trust me, Jesus said. Live out your mission. This is a millennia-old message that we still need to hear, especially on World Food Sunday. That's today. 690 million people go to bed hungry tonight. Think about that. 690 million people aren't asking, what are we having for dinner? No, 690 million people are asking, will we eat dinner? And they ask that question night after night. Hunger is so pervasive, you think that the whole earth was made of dust. No crops would grow anywhere. But we know that there's nothing really wrong with Mother Nature. The problem lies in the choices that we make for her. Poverty, land grabbing, climate change, the commodification of food and water, conflict and political instability. The causes of hunger are so complex, so intertwined, so systemic. It's a wonder how you and I are ever really going to make any difference. It's like we're standing on that shore, right along with Jesus' disciples, and there are problems as big as the sea itself in front of us. And even Jesus is sitting there admitting that addressing hunger isn't easy. He doesn't sugarcoat the outcome of their work or our work. Some seeds just aren't going to land where we need them to or create the results that we want. But he says some seeds will fall on good soil and the result will be phenomenal. So live your mission. Jesus got in the boat that day and rowed out into the sea so he could look over the whole crowd at once, so his voice would carry across the water to each and every one of them, so they could take his parable to heart and hear him say, live your mission. One of the ways that we live our mission as a United Church is the sharing that we have through our collective mission and service gifts. As a United Church, we endorse the principles of food sovereignty, the right of people to healthy and culturally appropriate food, produced through ecologically sound and sustainable methods, and their right to define their own food and agriculture systems. We believe food is a sacred gift from God, manna from heaven. No one should go hungry. That's why from coast to coast in Canada, our generosity supports community kitchens and meal programs, food cupboards, shelters, job training programs, community gardens, and healthy food programs. Internationally, we send food in times of crisis, distribute seeds, fund agricultural training programs and micro-lending programs, and support projects that help small-scale farmers access the equipment they need. And in some instances, we build infrastructure so they can get their food to market. We work with partners like ACT Alliance and the Canadian Food Grains Bank to move beyond the charity model by helping to work toward long-term systemic change through respectful partnerships. It's true that we aren't going to solve all the problems of the world, but for some people, our support means the world. The United Church's Philanthropy Unit shared a story not long ago about a young Canadian named Jesse. When he was 12 years old, Jesse had a traumatic brain injury. His life instantly changed because his brain just didn't function like it did before. By the time he was 17, Jesse had been hospitalized 32 times. Through all the ups and downs, his mother took care of him. She was his rock. And then, sadly, 3 years ago, she died of cancer. Without his mother, Jesse's life spiraled out of control. 2 years ago, he survived the winter by sleeping in a storage unit. Then he went to Stella's Circle, a mission and service partner, where he was fed, received help to find a room, a home, and is now completing a greenhouse technician college program. Today, Jesse is leading a new social enterprise that grows food for sale. This is what happens when seeds of generosity fall on good soil. Another story, this one stretching from Canada to Japan and then on to Kenya. In Kenya, more than 850,000 children have been orphaned because of HIV/AIDS. Some estimates are even higher. Emmanuel Baya, a farmer living in Magarina, Kenya, lost his parents when he was a child. So when he saw children looking for food under the cashew trees on his property, he felt a tug at his heartstrings. To make a long story short, he opened a children's center and school for orphans. But he didn't want to just nourish their bodies and minds. He also wanted them to be able to one day sustain themselves. And he knew he needed more skills to help. So he flew to the Asian Rural Institute in Japan, ARI for short. ARI is an agricultural training institute that teaches organic farming and leadership skills. And it's supported through your mission and service gifts. When he graduated from the program there and started an organic demonstration farm next to his school, today, not only are there 287 children in his care who are learning how to grow food, but the farm is also serving 7 neighboring communities. Volunteers at the farm are also receiving agricultural training at ARI thanks to your support. 690 million people may be going hungry tonight. But Jesse and Emmanuel and all the people in their communities that they support and the thousands of people that mission and service partners help aren't among them. That's because they are amazing people and they are supported by amazing people like you. This is what happens when we live our mission. Living God's mission is like planting seeds. Each seed contains the basic material needed to pull off a miracle. And like Jesus says, when they hit good dirt, miracles grow. Thank you for your mission and service giving. Thank you for taking Jesus' stories to heart and letting them transform your lives. Thank you for standing on the shoreline like disciples have for millennia, listening to the parable of the sower. Now, let's go work. Get out to work planting seeds. Let's live our mission. Amen. Christ has no body now but yours, no hands but yours. Here on this earth, yours is the work to serve with the joy of compassion. No hands but yours to heal the wounded world. No hands but yours to soothe all the suffering. No touch but yours to bind the broken hope of the people of God. Christ has no body now but yours, no hands but yours. Here on this earth, yours is the work to serve with the joy of compassion. No eyes but yours to see as Christ would see, to find the lost, to gaze with compassion. No eyes but yours to glimpse the holy joy of the city of God. Christ has no body now but yours, no hands but yours. Here on this earth, yours is the work to serve with the joy of compassion. No feet but yours to journey with the poor, to walk this world with mercy and justice. Yours are the steps to build a lasting peace for the children of God. Christ has no body now but yours, no hands but yours. Here on this earth, yours is the work to serve with the joy of compassion. Through every gift, give back to those in need. As Christ has blessed, so now be his blessing. With every gift, a benediction be to the people of God. Christ has no body now but yours, no hands but yours. Here on this earth, yours is the work to serve with the joy of compassion. Let's pray. Creator God, bless farmers, fishers, gatherers, hunters, migrant workers, all agricultural workers here in Canada and around the world. Bless those who transport, distribute, and prepare our food. Bless those pouring their heart and soul into fostering and protecting clean water, healthy soil, and biodiversity. Bless those advocating for safe, healthy, culturally appropriate food. Bless those challenging systems that treat food as a commodity rather than a sacred right. Bless those working hard to understand where their food comes from and to have a healthy relationship with it. Bless those who share what they can so no one goes hungry. Bless the breakfast programs, community kitchens, shared gardens, food banks, and agricultural training programs we support through mission and service. Bless our church suppers, barbecues, and luncheons, teas, and fellowship times. Bless our home kitchens, our tables, and all who gather around them. Bless us as we bow our heads in thanksgiving for your abundant grace. In all things for which we pray, give us grace and wisdom for the sake of Jesus the Christ, who taught us to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. May the light of Christ bless you and keep you in love and compassion and hope for our world. Thank you for joining us. Amen.